Good evening, everybody. We start tonight at 6 with a shooting that left one woman critically injured here at the intersection of Pike Ave and Pershing Boulevard early this morning in North Little Rock.
Well, police took someone into custody but released him sometime later. In an update, they say that person and the victim don't appear to know each other.
So for now, detectives have already turned over a case file to the prosecutor's office, but they are also asking for help from the public. And after a weekend shooting on this side of the river, Little Rock leaders are renewing calls to rein in the numbers of teens hanging out downtown. Hello, thank you for joining us tonight. I am Rolly Hoyt.
And I'm Jurnee Taylor. Now the city board has restored a juvenile curfew starting nightly at 10 o'clock. Tonight, THV11's Maya Ellison is live in the River Market. She talked to people who not only live in this area, but also lead the city of Little Rock about what could change. Maya, tell us more.
Yeah, Rolly, Jurnee. Police say Saturday night shooting was not deadly, but it did spark growing concern about ways to keep teens off the street late at night. Now, I did get a chance to speak with people here in the River Market Entertainment District who say this has been going on for quite some time. Around lunchtime, restaurants in the River Market District are busy, like here at Gus's Fried Chicken, where doors open until 9 or sometimes 10 at night. But Elgin Williams says when the sun goes down, the concerns start to rise.
You have a lot of young kids that's coming down here and that's unsupervised. So I think it needs to be more supervision down here with the safety.
Williams says more and more teens are spending time in the River Market. And with the restaurant sitting near the top of the district, it's something they notice regularly.
They're dropping the kids off, they're leaving, and the kids sometimes even find their way back home. They're out on these scooters. These kids finna run into cars, have incidents on these scooters, you know, just things like 2 of them on there at one time.
Just this weekend, Little Rock police started investigating a shooting that left a 21-year-old injured. The incident even sparked comment from city leaders, including Mayor Frank Scott Jr., who proposed a special citywide weekend curfew for teens 18 and under. It's something we even saw last summer in the River Market District after another shooting involving teens. But Williams says little has changed since.
I don't really see a difference, you know. Honestly, to me, it seems like it's more teens out here.
Mayor Frank Scott says the curfew was originally planned for the summer, but recent incidents led to early enforcement, changing the curfew to 10 p.m. through 5 a.m. Sunday through Thursday.
I think that is a very good idea because as a parent, I feel like all parents should know where their children are.
Like Teresa Wilson, other community members agree. This is a step toward keeping people safe.
I think it's very important to make sure our young adults and our teens are growing up in safe areas and they're, you know, staying true to the law. And so I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Change can take time if the proposed curfew goes into effect. But like Williams, many are hopeful it will keep everyone in the district safe.
Hey, we don't want them to get into trouble. So, you know, anything to avoid getting them into trouble, I think is helpful.
And I do want to emphasize that during this special meeting that started at 4 p.m., it was a unanimous vote from City Board of Directors that voted to pass this special curfew, and that is set to go into effect this Friday, April 17th, and ending, as city leaders say, September 6th. And for more information, you can visit our website at thv11.com. Live in Little Rock, Maya Ellison, THV11 News.
All right, Maya, thank you so much. Outside, overcast skies on this Tuesday afternoon. And baseball's happening across the river over in North Little Rock. We'll check in with the sports guys in just a few moments and have another special report at 6:30 from Simone Thomas. It's the Razorbacks and the UAPB Golden Lions, and it's overcast. It's a little on the muggy side. Yeah, but it didn't rain today. Yeah, we could use the rain, certainly, and the rain's going to be locked up to the west of us. Tonight, storms are expected in Oklahoma. There is already severe watch boxes, tornado watch boxes, just to the west of Arkansas. Some of this activity may drift into northwestern Arkansas a little later on tonight and tomorrow. As it stands currently for the central part of the state and for most of Arkansas, the severe weather threat just isn't there because the systems are having a hard time moving east. They're moving more northeasterly away from the state. Mild afternoon out there. We're at 78 here. They had more sunshine in eastern Arkansas, lower to mid 80s today. We'll see numbers in the lower 80s tomorrow, partly sunny. The next round of showers and storms on Thursday, then another round on Saturday. I've got the latest timing for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you. Well, the weather tonight still decent, muggy, but decent for some baseball. And as Tom mentioned, over at Dickey-Stephens Park, it's not the usual players out on the diamond. The Razorbacks and the Golden Lions have made the trip here to the Metro for Arkansas's annual game in North Little Rock. And of course, you see the man here. Sports director Tyler Cass is already there. Tyler, how is it going?
Yeah, Jurnee, we just got underway. We are 1 out into this thing after a ground out by UAPB's leadoff batter to third base. So 1 out in the top of the first, literally just as close to the start of this game as you can. And there's a pop out for the second out of the inning. So a good start for Razorback pitcher Colin Fisher, who had been a weekend starter until last weekend. Now looking for a prove-it start midweek here against a Golden Lions team that's having one of their best seasons in recent memory. We'll hear from head coach Dave Van Horn and talk about this game a lot more coming up a little later on in sports. I'll also tell you an updated score in a few minutes as well. For now, though, live from Dickey-Stephens Park, Tyler Cass, THV11 Sports. Guys.
All right, Tyler, thank you. Prisons and public safety back on the front burner at today's fiscal session meetings. Amendments to the Corrections Department funding requests now want to boost efforts to block contraband cell phones in prisons. The technology blocks a signal coming from a phone that's not approved by the Department of Corrections. State and federal leaders have been pushing for that kind of technology, but it took a change by the FCC last year to make it possible in Arkansas. Early returns in other parts of the country are encouraging.
They implemented this program about a year ago, and they've had huge success with it. Ended up being one of the largest RICO investigations, organized crime, and I think touched like 10 states.
Representative Tosh also said that if the Department of Corrections can retrieve any voice, that they can retrieve voice and text messages from those phones and use them toward investigations that could be turned over to local agencies. Also in the prison funding bill, more signs the proposed prison project in Franklin County is almost permanently stalled. The $850 million project failed to get support last year during the regular session. Since then, advocates both in the River Valley and statewide have kept the pressure on skeptical lawmakers. And so instead, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders now shifting the focus to other programs, including expansion at existing facilities and more money for recidivism programs.
Meanwhile, Sharia law, a religious code in Islam, may soon drive debate among Arkansas lawmakers. A group hopes to advance a largely symbolic measure that they say would limit the strict doctrine. 2 companion resolutions focus on property ownership and requiring disputes be handled in U.S. courts. Similar laws have passed in places like Florida, but critics say there are no efforts from any Islamic groups wanting to change local laws or build any closed Muslim communities. They call it an attempt to codify Islamophobia.
There's not a problem that the law is going to fix because nobody's asking for any more federal or state laws than what we already have.
Interfaith leaders say the rhetoric risks creating fear and division, adding Muslim Arkansans have long been part of the community. We'll have the full story tonight at 10. But still here to come at 6, a reminder on your taxes, which you need to know before the filing deadline arrives.
Plus, a new scam warning from state police and the story of one Little Rock man who fell victim to a scam. Wants to make sure you and others don't find the same fate.
Game of Hurry Up and Wait in our weather forecast. If you haven't already, download Live Radar 24/7. It's part of THV11 Plus package. Stream now and you can track storms along with us when and if they get here. I'm pulling for them not getting here, although we could use the rain. I'll have a look at your forecast when we come back.